Hello, everybody. I know it's been at least a day or so since I made a video, so here I am. Nothing happened. I didn't fall off the face of the earth, so here I am. Anyways, I wanted to do another unique video where I originally wanted to do this on my old YouTube channel, but I kind of lost interest in doing posting videos on my old YouTube channel because, nobody really seemed interested in my content at the time. But now that I've got some legit followers, that people actually care about my content, I am actually feel happy that I'm able to get this monkey off my back and do it. Now, today's video is going to be where... Oh, hold on a sec. There we go. Today I'm going to give you guys my top 10 favorite Marvel Comics heroes. Notice I said Marvel Comics because if I just said Marvel, people would have probably would have think the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I mean the Marvel Comics heroes, the heroes that I've loved since I was a kid, that I've loved growing up, getting into the Marvel Comics franchise and everything. So here are my top 10 favorite Marvel Comics heroes. Starting with number 10, and that is Norrin Radd, aka the Silver Surfer. Been a huge fan of this character since I was a kid, ever since I first got exposed to him through the 1967 Fantastic Four animated series, in which I still regard to this day as the greatest Fantastic Four TV series of all time. It's really freaking good in my opinion. And with Norrin Radd, aka the Silver Surfer, is a very tragic character. He went through a lot of suffering in his life. Well, he did go through quite a bit of suffering, but this is one that made a sacrifice to save his own planet and people. For those who don't know the backstory of the Silver Surfer, his name is Norrin Radd, and he's a human-like alien from the planet Zenn-La. And, he was a kind of like a philanthropist or an astronomer or something like that. Anyways, one day came the Devourer of Worlds himself, Galactus. Now, Galactus is not really a villain. He's really more so of a force of nature, a predator. Now, the reason why he goes after planet to planet, is not because he hates people, it's not because he's evil, it's because he has this insatisfiable hunger, where he needs to constantly absorb thermal and organic energy from planets. So one day, Galactus came in to absorb the energy, both thermal and organic energy, of Zenn-La. And Norrin Radd said, if you spare my world, and he said, I will become your herald. If you spare my world, I will become your herald. I will find you planets filled with massive amounts of energy. So Galactus agrees. He uses a portion of his power cosmic to transform Norrin Radd into probably the greatest cosmic hero, not only in the Marvel Universe, but probably in all of comics and fiction, in the Silver Surfer. And for many, many years, he would become one of Galactus's greatest heroes, if not his greatest herald of all time. Eventually, though, he would no longer serve Galactus once he came in contact with the Fantastic Four during the Coming of Galactus trilogy, in which, he realizes that Galactus, tricked him into... Originally, Norrin Radd wanted to find planets full of non-life so Galactus doesn't kill people. But Galactus used his mind games to basically make Silver Surfer find populated planets. And this kind of upset Silver Surfer. And when he came to Earth, it was like, oh, here's a planet. And then, the Fantastic Four showed up. Thing knocks him out. Then, of course, with influence and basically a huge influence by Ben Grimm's girlfriend, now wife, Alicia Masters, so it's like, this is wrong, you're hurting innocent people. I originally wanted to intend to find planets, non-populated planets, full of rich energy, but you tricked me, and, if you absorb the earth, you'll kill millions of billions of people. So Silver Surfer wards off Galactus, and of course Galactus, instead of taking his power cosmic away from Silver Surfer, he basically puts this energy barrier around the Earth so that way Silver Surfer does not travel the depths of space. Of course, eventually, Silver Surfer manages to escape the barrier, he managed to break through the barrier. Years later, of course, and be able to travel the depths of space again. The Silver Surfer is, to me, is a very interesting, compelling character. He was created by Jack Kirby. Stan Lee fell in love with this character when Jack Kirby told him about this Herald, this silver-skinned Herald type character. And unfortunately, what caused Stan Lee and Jack Kirby to stop working together on the character was creative differences. Stan Lee wanted to focus more on his character / personality, while Jack Kirby wanted to focus more on his powers. And I think Stan Lee made the right decision. Silver Surfer would go on to become a founding member of the Defenders, along with the Hulk, the original Defenders, along with the Hulk, Doctor Strange, Namor the Submariner. Yeah, Namor the Submariner. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had a brain fart there. So yeah, Silver Surfer's number 10. Number 9 on the list is the Sorcerer Supreme himself, or not so Sorcerer Supreme anymore, Dr. Stephen Strange. I've been a fan of this character ever since I got exposed to him in the 1994 Spider-Man animated series, in which he was voiced by John Vernon. And I really like his backstory. Yes, I am a fan of the Doctor Strange movies, especially more so the first one than the second one, but I still like the second one. Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, has done the character so well and with so much justice. I did like the animated film that came out many years ago. I did enjoy that. But Doctor Strange is such a fascinating. This is about a surgeon who was too arrogant, too prideful, then one day gets to an accident, loses the use, could no longer, while he regained the use of his hands, he couldn't perform surgery anymore. So he goes to this place in the Himalayas and he finds this being called the Ancient One, see if he can, completely heal his hands, but instead he wound up training him in mystic arts and martial arts as well. And then, of course, years later, Stephen Strange, would go on to become Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, and one of the most powerful heroes in all of comics and fiction. I mean, his sorcery and mysticism is off the damn charts. Really like his character, really like his story arc. Very fascinating character. Been a fan since I was a kid. Number 8 on the list is the invincible armored Iron Man himself, Tony friggin' Stark. Now, I've been a fan of Iron Man before RDJ got cast to play the character. Hell, even before the MCU began. I've been a fan of Iron Man when I was a kid, reading the comic books, watching the 90s Marvel Animated Universe, playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the arcades, and playing the first Marvel Alliance game on the original Xbox. I fucking love Iron Man. I think he's a fascinating character. He's one of those characters very complicated, but I do feel that he has a good heart. Yes, he can be cocky, he can be arrogant, he can be ignorant and obnoxious, but he has a good heart. He does care about people, even though he's very complicated, he does have a good heart, which is why he's one of the founding members of the Avengers, just like he is in the movies. Next up on the list, number 7. Is a tie between the OG Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, and Blade. I know this may sound interesting to people, but this is the truth. I love these two characters. These two are probably two of my favorite, if not at this moment, my top 2 favorite supernatural heroes of all time. Everyone knows who Blade is from the 1994 Spider-Man animated series, not only as well as the comics, as well as the original Blade movies with Wesley Snipes. And yes, I'm definitely invested in not only the upcoming Blade video game, which looks pretty cool, but also in the movie that will star Mahershala Ali, Mahershala Ali as the character. But, Blade is a great character, one of the most badass characters in comics, in my opinion. Love his origin and backstory. Sounds really cool and interesting to me. I like the whole Daywalker vibe. He's actually a Danthir, a human vampire hybrid. Like that. I've always found that to be very interesting. And Ghost Rider, I didn't even know who the hell the Ghost Rider was until I watched the episode Innocent Blood in season 1 of the 1996 Incredible Hulk animated series. And when I saw this, I'm like, holy shit! There's a motorcycle guy there's a flaming skull dude riding a freaking flaming motorcycle. Sold, and that was basically my introduction to the Ghost Rider. But the Ghost Rider is one that pretty much, is a spirit of vengeance. He is willing to kill people a lot more than other characters like Batman, especially in recent years. The Ghost Rider, believe it or not, is one of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe. And is not to be underestimated. He's gone toe-to-toe against the Hulk. He's gone toe-to-toe against Thor. He's gone toe-to-toe against Doctor Strange. He is a very powerful character and is not to be underestimated. Really like his character and backstory a lot as well. I find that to be very interesting. Number 6 on the list is the Son of Odin, the Son of Odin, the Lord of Thunder, and now the All-Father of Asgard, the mighty Thor himself, Thor Odinson. My first exposure to Thor was to Hulk the Incredible Guide, written by Tom DeFalco, but I became a fan through the episode Mortal Bound, which was in season 1 of the 1996 Incredible Hulk animated series, in which he was voiced by John Rhys-Davies. And my first impressions was his design, his look. I thought it was very awesome because I've always liked because to me, I thought Vikings looked so badass to me. But then when I researched the character, I'm like, wow, he's no pushover. He's a very powerful character. I mean, he and the Hulk have clashed countless times in the comics, and usually to a standstill/stalemate. That's pretty damn badass, if I don't say so myself. I like his backstory, and the version of Thor from the Marvel Comics franchise is similar, but also a lot different compared to the Thor from Norse mythology. Thor in the comics, in the Marvel Universe, in the main Marvel Universe, his father is indeed Odin, but it's also Gaia, aka the Greek Titan of Earth. And basically making Thor half Asgardian, half Elder God. And because of that, he has some of the best genetics known to man and in existence. He has been highly regarded in the Marvel Comics franchise as one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel multiverse and omniverse, and there is a reason why he was a founding member of the Avengers, because this guy's no friggin' pushover. And I know a lot of people debated between who's stronger, the Hulk and Thor, and it'll probably never end until the end of time. But make no mistake, Thor is a hero you want to have on your side. Number 5 is the man without fear, the defender of Hell's Kitchen, Matthew Murdock, aka Daredevil. My first exposure to this legendary and iconic character was not only through the 1994 Spider-Man animated series, but also through the 2003 Daredevil movie in which Ben Affleck played the character. And that's where my fandom of Daredevil originated. Now, I know some of you guys may be shocked about it, but you really shouldn't, because everyone's entitled to their opinion. And what really pissed me was that everyone hated on Daredevil because they didn't like the movie, which I thought was so stupid, ignorant, arrogant, obnoxious, and just pure stupidity. But I really like Daredevil for his backstory. I like the fact that he's not really like Batman, but there are some elements of Batman that you could tell that are in his character. Like he strikes fear into the hearts of criminals. He usually fights at night. But what's different is that Daredevil actually has more of a social and personal life than Batman. And he's a lawyer. So, to me, he's like a dual-edged sword. He can kick your ass at night, and he can lock you up in the courthouse. He can put you up, he can sentence you in prison in the courtroom. Well, help convict you in the courtroom as a lawyer. So I've always found it to be very interesting. I've always loved Daredevil. I haven't read a Daredevil comic in so freaking long, but I do love the character. He's been one of my favorites since childhood. Loved Charlie Cox's portrayal of the character. I was so glad he was able to reprise the role in Spider-Man No Way Home, and that Kevin Feige's willing to bring him back for future MCU content. Number 4 is the Sentinel of Liberty, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. You know, Captain America, I've been a fan of him since the 1994 Spider-Man animated series. Loved his costume, love his character design, love his origin and backstory, love his personality. You know, some people got him confused for his Ultimate Universe counterpart, who to me is one of the most unlikable characters ever. Like in the Ultimate, Captain America in the Ultimate Universe, which is located in Earth 1610. Captain America is a scumbag. I mean, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a sexist. He's has his quote unquote all American attitude. Basically, he's an asshole. But in the mainstream Marvel, Captain America is basically like Superman. He's good natured, he's pure hearted, he's optimistic, he's charismatic, he's compassionate, he's decent, he has strong, legitimate leadership qualities. He demands respect. He's the type of person you should respect because of the type of man that he is. No, he's the type of person that you were willing to fight in a battle, fight alongside with in a battle. And even Thor said that in the original 1984 Secret Wars, where Thor said, "I would fight alongside Cap to the gates of hell." He literally said that out of his own mouth. No one forced him to. He wasn't manipulated. He wasn't being mind controlled. He literally said that out of his own mouth, and he was not bullshitting you. You know, there's a reason why I think Captain America, you know, other than another hero, you could argue that Steve Rogers is the greatest heroic figure in the Marvel Universe because he's the type of hero that brings out hope and optimism, similar to what Superman does in the DC universe. You know, the Superman is a symbol of hope. The same could literally be said for Captain America. You know, Captain America is the type of person that even in the face of death, he would fight for his life and the life of others even if he dies instantly. That's not stupid. That's not silly. That's not moronic. It's the truth. Like, he's willing to fight for other people's lives more than his own. I'll never forget when Chris Evans said in the movie, in the first Captain America, you know, the first Avenger movie, where he said, "I don't want to kill anybody, but I don't like bullies." And, you know, Captain America doesn't want to kill anybody, even though there's a good chance he did kill during World War II. Doesn't mean he wanted to kill, doesn't mean he liked to kill. There's a difference. So yeah, Captain America Steve Rogers is number 4. Number 3, this is a character that everyone should know. This has been a fan favorite since the Silver Age of comic books. This is a character that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby used influences like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Frankenstein, and Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm talking about the self-proclaimed strongest one there is, Dr. Robert Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. Now, my introduction to this character was through the Ang Lee Hulk film from 2003, which I actually loved as a kid. Like, it was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. And one of the things I still love about the film, even though I don't love it anymore, I don't hate it, but the one thing I still love about that film is Danny Elfman's score. Holy shit, Danny Elfman, you composed one hell of a damn score. Anyway, the Hulk is really a character that you can describe as a misunderstood person, a misunderstood character. This is a character that has a really cool backstory that goes beyond his first appearance, where when you first see the Hulk in the comic books, you know, he was a scientist working on a gamma bomb. A kid trespassing to the facility. The scientist runs out. While his assistant has no regards for his assistant has no regard for the scientist's life, so he initiates the countdown. Meanwhile, the scientist grabs the teenager, throws him to the trench, but before he can save himself, he gets bombarded with a massive dose of gamma radiation, which should have killed him, but he managed to survive. However, over time, the more if he gets stressed or angry or goes through anxiety, he transforms to a raging behemoth called the Hulk. And the Hulk has been a fan favorite among many fans, not just Marvel Comics fans, but fans in general. Even those who don't really read comic books know who the Hulk is, and I'm sure a large majority of them love the Hulk. I mean, the Hulk has been, one of my favorites since childhood. I got into him through the Ang Lee film, the 96 Incredible Hulk animated series, the 78 Incredible Hulk TV series that starred Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, Hulk the Incredible God, written by Tom DeFalco. I've been a fan of him for a very long time, and I loved him ever since. And he has gone through. I'm sorry, I'm going a little off topic, going rambling here. The Hulk is just a fantastic character. In my opinion, he's among the best characters in comic book and fictional history. He's not just a Marvel Hall of Famer, he's a Hall of Famer in general. And as I said, his backstory goes beyond his comic book origin. I mean, he went through years and years of traumatic child abuse by his father, which caused him to develop multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder. I think that's the proper disorder. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, number 2. We're down to the top 2, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2. This is a character that I can't wait to see on the big screen again in Deadpool 3. This is a character that I think many people regard as Marvel's ultimate badass. James Logan Howard, aka the Wolverine. Now, my first exposure to this bad boy was through the legendary iconic 1992 X-Men animated series, in which he was voiced by Cal Dodd. Speaking of which, Cal Dodd's going to reprise his role as Wolverine in the sequel, X-Men 97, which I cannot wait for it to come out. Anyways, Wolverine is one of those characters that is very tragic, that has went through a lot of suffering throughout his life. Whether he's outliving them, whether he sees them killed, whether, you name it. He's gone through a lot of pain and suffering, as well as his memories being altered by Weapon X and a bunch of other shit. Wolverine is one of those characters that is really interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people say he's overrated or more so overused, which I agree. I think he's more so overused than he is overrated. I mean, yes, a lot of Marvel likes to put him on a shitload of teams. But to me, when I think of Wolverine, while I don't mind him on the Avengers, or I don't mind him on the Secret Defenders, or the new Fantastic Four, when I think of Wolverine, to me, he will always be an X-Man. That's what I think of Wolverine, And if you don't know, Hugh Jackman, even though he originally said that Logan was his last movie, he's going to come back for Deadpool 3, and he's going to do probably 1 or 2 other movies as a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which to me is fucking awesome. Next up, the final one, number 1. Even though he has been horribly written recently by Zeb Wells, he is still, in my opinion, Marvel's greatest character. He is one of the greatest comic book characters of all time. He is, in my opinion, one of the greatest fictional characters of all time. He is one of the 4 most famous and iconic superheroes in the world. And what I heard from some people, he may be the most popular superhero today, and that is Peter Benjamin Parker, aka the amazing, sensational, spectacular Spider-Man. Now, what got me into this legendary web-slinging character was the original Spider-Man trilogy that was directed by Sam Raimi in the 2000s, especially in particular the first two films. And what makes Spider-Man such a great character is not just his powers, his costume, his villains, his supporting cast. It's his relatability. I mean, Spider-Man is easily one of the most relatable fictional characters of all time. And what makes him so relatable are the experiences he goes through, or his personal experiences. Like him losing a relative, him getting constantly bullied and harassed in school, being treated like shit. Um, you know, nervous to develop a love and social life. Trying to find a job to make money. You know, as Dan Slott once said, Spider-Man is literally the guy next door, and that's what makes Spider-Man such a great, awesome, and interesting character, is the amount of personal experience he goes through that causes people to relate to him. That's why he's arguably one of the most relatable characters in fictional history, is because of the personal experiences he goes through. Obviously, he has a great rogues gallery, he's got a great supporting cast, he has a great universe, and obviously most of his films, in my book, have been phenomenal, including the most recent animated Spider-Verse movies from not only this year, but 2018. Spider-Man not only of all the Marvel characters, but of all the superheroes, I've read Spider-Man the most, like, no bullshit. Spider-Man was the one superhero I read the most in the comics. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out.